ladies and gentlemen.
And
We are the Axis of Awesome.
And I'm Benny.
We've been a comedy rock band for close to 40 years now, and all that time we've never had a hit. And
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4 chords.
So let me get this straight.
Few more than fit. Check it out. My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel. Of that I'm sure.
Well, that's just 2 songs that are similar. That's
forever young.
3
I
songs.
wanna be forever young. I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours. This is the way you left me. I'm not pretending. No love, no hope, no glory, no happy ending.
Just can't get over how good those songs are. I'm going to play them every week at the start of the live. We'll just have to see which ones come up. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to our Sunday Night Live again. What a beautiful day. Our first Sunday in April. Guys, we are a quarter of the way through 2022. How does that make you feel? Give me a holler in the comments below. How does that make you feel? My God, we are 1/4 of the way through the year. Did we all enjoy the extra sleep in this morning with daylight savings ending? I know I talked last week about the fact that I don't like daylight savings ending, but I tell you what, the extra hour of sleep this morning was amazing, and what a beautiful day we had. I saw in the Facebook group all the beautiful things that you guys got up to. The lovely Fiona and I we went up to Blair National Park for a walk. And little did we know that today was actually the launch of the hiking season. So, is it hiking season or bushwalking season or something? So today was the launch of the bushwalking season, and every man and his dog were up there. But what a beautiful walk. If you ever get a chance to do some of the Blair National Park, it was really, really good. Tell me what you got up to today if you haven't already in the group. I can see Lisa's a little bit scared that we're a quarter of the way through the year. It's really scary, isn't it, Lisa, how quick the year flies. And it really should just make us think about all the things that we need to start putting into place if we want this year to be our year. And I know that there are so many of you that do want that this year. Hi, Jenny. I can see you on here as well. And Lisa, good evening. Hello. I can see Katie's on as well. Beautiful. All righty. So, as always, if you are here with us, it is #live if you're watching here on this beautiful Sunday night. And if you're watching it after, it's #replay. Wherever you're watching this, though, welcome and thank you for joining us. So I thought this week we might follow up with from our chat last week about calories and discover where these calories actually come from, right? So it's really important to know what makes up these calories. We touched on this briefly last week about what the 3 macronutrients are, but they are so important that they actually deserve their own live. In fact, each one of them on their own deserves their own live chat. So this is actually what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks, going into more detail. So if you are serious about taking charge of your health and your food consumption and your weight this year, because like we said, we're already a quarter of the way through the year. Now's the time to get a handle on it. This is the kind of information that you are going to want to pay attention to get maximum results. Doesn't that sound amazing? That sounds really good, maximum results. And I'll tell you what, if you follow the information that we give out on these macronutrients, it'll be with less effort too. That sounds even better. I think that sounds good. I don't know. Tell me in the comments what you think. Okay, so just briefly before we get into macronutrients, tomorrow our Inner Fit Step Challenge launches. It kicks off. It is not too late to join. You can join anytime you want. You can join next week. You can join tonight. You can join, in week 2. But I do strongly encourage you to get in now if you want to do it so that you have more chances of winning. We are even going to set a weekly prize right off the bat for week 1, but you have to be in it to win it. So after this live, head on over to the website and jump on board. In saying this, later in the live, we are going to announce our own step challenges. So Katie and I did ask you for your help to set us our own goals. And I have no idea what Caitlin has set for me, but I do know what I've set for her. So stay tuned to the end to see how cruel she's been to me. Who thinks she's going to be cruel? Jenny, absolutely, mate. You can join. Jenny, why don't you could join now, and then we could use this week to get you all set up so that you're not rushing next week. But absolutely, you can start in week 2. You can start in week 3. Remember that with the step challenge, every week that you reach your goal is an entry into the draw. It just means if you start in week 2 or week 3 that you will have 1 or 2 less entries than maybe some other people will. But you can absolutely start whenever you like. So, all right, let's get started. So, macronutrients. You've heard of nutrients, right? There are 3 main nutrients that are the umbrella for other nutrients, and all calories are made up of 3 macronutrients, okay? It's the same ones. Every single thing that you put in your mouth, or in your body, I guess, it all goes through your mouth, has either fats, carbohydrates, or protein in it, in various combinations or amounts. So a piece of bread has mostly carbohydrates and a little, some fats and proteins, not many. Eggs have a high amount of protein and fat, but very little carbs, if any. Banana is nearly all carbohydrates with a tiny little bit of protein and a little bit of fat. Chocolate, woohoo, love chocolate. Who doesn't love chocolate? Has carbs and fats and only a small amount of protein. You get the idea, right? So every food, everything that you put in your mouth, even if it's drinks except for water, has either protein, carbs, or fats in it, or a combination of all 3, or a combination of 2, okay? But these are the things that make up calories. So literally everything has all of that in it. And I'm sure that some of you have heard the language about counting macros. Let me know in the comments if you've ever heard the phrase counting my macros, or watch your macros, or if it fits your macros, right? And this is what they're talking about. So let's have a brief look at each of them, and we're going to start with fats, all right? Now, you will know about fats because you've been taught for decades now that because the world is trying to teach you that fats are bad, right? So you might think that fats are bad, that the more fat you eat, the fatter you will get, and that's simply not true, okay? I want to eliminate that for you right now. Just because you eat more fat, it does not mean you will get fat. Within reason, yeah. So, in fact, fats are an essential part of our diet. We need fats to survive, and without them, all sorts of things can go wrong, especially for women. We actually need a certain amount of fat in our diets to maintain a healthy hormonal balance, to keep our menstrual cycle working at its best, and to balance our estrogen and progesterone really well. So fats, where do fats come from? Fats are generally found in meats and animal products. So things like cheese, milk, butter, yogurt, red meat, chicken, there's a little bit in fish as well, all those sorts of things. And fats are also found in more natural, not natural, animals are natural, you know what I mean. But things like nuts and seeds, things that grow, and avocados as well. And those ones, so the nuts, the seeds, and the avos are generally considered healthier fats. The ones, those ones that comes from nuts, seeds, and avos, they are less saturated and have many good qualities for our bodies. The fats in meats and animal products are generally more saturated fat. And this is the type of fats that can be an issue for us, particularly around things like your cholesterol levels, right? But we're going to go into more detail about those types of things in another live in the next few weeks. So we will specifically do a live on fats only, so we can go into more detail about that. But all of these foods mentioned here are your basic sources and your main sources of fats in the diet. Now, I've got a question for you. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever noticed that when you eat fatty foods, they are higher in calories than other foods? Hands up if you've ever noticed that. So you put in something in your calorie counter and it's a fatty food and all of a sudden your calories have blown out. Tell me in the comments if you've noticed this before, and if you do, why do you think this might be happening? So it might actually be happening, and it is happening, because of the way that fat works in our bodies. It has more calories per gram, so it requires more energy to burn off. Okay, so fats require our bodies to use more energy to burn it off. Each 1 gram of fat, so each 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. So if you were to eat 100 grams of pure fat, and it might sound like a lot, but I bet you sometimes in a day you would actually eat 100 grams of fat without knowing it. If you're having a big day of binging on takeaway food and cheese platters and, you know, all those sorts of things, you might actually get to 100 grams of fat in a day. But by doing that, you are instantly eating 900 calories, right? That's a lot when you think about it. But this is also the reason why, because of the way it sits in our bodies and because it takes our bodies a longer time to process those fat calories, it's why you actually feel really full after eating a fatty meal, because it has lots of calories, and because our body needs to use more energy to digest it, it takes longer to digest as well. So it just sits there, right? It just sits there in your guts. So that's why fatty foods can also make you feel full. They've got a higher calorie content that your body's got to try and get through. I'm just having a quick look at the comments. Yeah, generally, Jenny, yeah, it's more the batter. So when something is battered and then deep fried, it's not necessarily what's on the inside. It's more the batter and then the oil that gets soaked up, the fats that get soaked up when you are frying it, gets soaked up into the batter. That's what the problem is with battered food. Yeah, good one. I really like that question, Jenny. Well done. So I mentioned that fat is a necessary component of our diet, and it absolutely is. So we need to ensure that we get enough without having it blow our calorie count out of the water. This is where we need to be really careful with fats, because like I said, it's 9 calories per gram. So the general rule of thumb, if you want to start balancing it out, is to have approximately 25 to 30% of your daily food intake made up of fats. Remember that you only get made up of 3 things: fats, proteins, and carbohydrates, okay? So if you can aim for 25 to 35% of your whole daily intake from fats, and preferably the healthier fats like seeds, nuts, avocados, those sorts of things, vegetable oils if you have to, as opposed to saturated fats from animals, you'll be doing some good for your body. So for example, let's break that down. If you are on a 1500 calorie meal plan, you would want approximately 400 to 450 calories to come from fat, okay? So that would be a nice healthy balance. That would keep your hormones working well, and it would be keeping your calorie balance in check as well. So much more than this, much more than that sort of 30%, you may find you go over your calorie intake for the day and you might put on some weight. Much less than that, and for a sustained period of time, a couple of days here and there won't matter, but if you eat a lot less than that regularly, you may start to find your hormones get a little bit antsy and they don't like you as much, okay? So you'll start to feel it with your hormones. Please do not be afraid to eat fats, okay? Especially the good fats. All right, please don't be scared. I know that we have all been conditioned to think that fat is the killer of humans and heart disease and all that stuff, but it's not. If you eat the good fats and the right amount of it, you are doing your body a good thing. As with anything though, if you do overeat or overconsume, of course it's going to do harm to your body, but that's true for proteins and carbohydrates as well. So when it comes to fats, don't be afraid of them. Just choose the healthier ones, okay? Things that come from seeds and nuts, avocados, vegetable oils, things like that. Of course, there are healthy fats in meat, just generally in a meat, like a piece of steak. Even if you trim the excess fat, there's still bits of fat in with the protein, and that's not a terribly bad thing either. It's not a bad thing to eat the saturated fat on the edge of a steak either if it's really, really yummy and flavored well. It's not going to kill you once in a while. I promise you that. If you're doing that every single day, then you might going to have a problem with cholesterol or heart disease or whatever, and you might have a big problem with your weight control. But every now and then it's not going to hurt you. But please don't be afraid to eat your good fats. So aiming for around about 25 to 30% of your total daily intake to come from fats. So let's move on a little bit. While you have been told that fats are the enemy, you've been told buy low fat, eat low fat, blah, 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 right? What do you think is actually a worse thing to eat for our bodies? What do you think might actually be worse than fat? Because we've been conditioned since we were little to think that fats are bad. We need to buy low fat. We can't eat fatty foods, blah, blah, blah. There is something that is actually worse for your body than fats. What do you think it is? It's the real contributor to obesity, heart disease, I can see it coming up, blood sugar diseases, to some cancers, and it's not fat. Tell me below in the comments. I'm going to have a quick drink. Oh my God, you guys know the answer to this. I'm a little bit proud right now. Carla, I just saw your comment about extending to full fat cheese. Yeah, so we're going to go into that now. Things like the full fat cheese and that generally have it's more saturated fats because they come from animals. But definitely things like yogurt and milk, the fats in there are generally pretty good. But I see your comment, and that is a beautiful segue, Carla. Thank you, because we are going to talk about when you buy low fat, what happens to the products to make it taste better. And I can see all of you have commented there. You know exactly where I'm heading. The answer is sugar. Sugar is much worse for you than the fats that you eat. So it's not fat that's the killer of humans, it's sugar. So when something is low in fat, it gets sugar added to it, as Carla also just mentioned in her comments, to make it taste better. Because fats actually taste pretty good, right? I mean, not if you're going to eat just a straight fat, but fat in products, like we're not going to lie, when you cook a steak and the fat drips off and helps to coat the meat, it is bloody delicious, right? But when you take the fat out of things, some of the flavour goes. And so a lot of low fat products in the supermarket shelves have more sugar added to them to make them taste better. Just about everything that you eat has sugar in it. And if you watched my menopause series, you will know about sugars and carbohydrates and how they interact with cells in the body. Sugar is a type of carbohydrate, a big component of the carbohydrate family, right? Just about every single carbohydrate that you can name has sugar in it, with the exception of a green cruciferous vegetable. Tell me in the comments below if you can think of another carb source, another carbohydrate that has no sugar in it. See if you can name a carbohydrate source that has no sugar in it, right? There are very, very few of them. And it's funny because carbohydrates are the one macronutrient that we do not need to survive. Let me say that again. Carbohydrates are the one macronutrient that we do not need to survive. We can live without carbohydrates. But no, this does not give you permission to cut out all your carbohydrates tomorrow and start doing a keto diet. Okay, I do not give you permission to do that because they do have their place depending on what your goals are. So firstly, if you want to be healthy, getting micronutrients is important, okay? So we're talking about macronutrients, but I'm going to touch briefly on micronutrients. Lisa, I see your comment about sweet potato. Sweet potato has sugar in it. Have you ever cooked sweet potato and noticed that it caramelizes? It's got sugar in it because it's very starchy as well. But good one, I like that. I love sweet potato. Yes, broccoli, Carla, is a green cruciferous vegetable. Yep, so that doesn't have the sugars in it. As we mentioned, the green cruciferous ones don't. So let's have a quick discussion about micronutrients. So these are things like iron, folate, vitamins, minerals. These things are required in our bodies, and many of these can be found in fats and proteins, but they are also found in vegetables and fruits. And vegetables and fruits are carbohydrates. So we do not want to eliminate all carbohydrates for the simple fact that they've all got sugar in them, okay? Because we need to have those micronutrients, iron, folate, vitamin D, vitamin C, all those sorts of things. We need to have those in our body as well. So we don't want to eliminate them completely. Secondly, if you are looking to build muscle, it is highly encouraged that you eat carbohydrates after a workout to help muscle growth and repair. But we are focusing a little bit more in this bit on the sugars at the start. So all carbohydrates, with the exception of green cruciferous vegetables and cauliflower, of course, I see that, Kathy, have some sort of sugar in them. This is where our intake of carbohydrates is going wrong. So even fruit, sorry ladies, sorry, I don't know if you love your fruit, but fruit has sugar in it. You might think that because it's natural sugars, it's healthy. But at the end of the day, our body doesn't really know the difference between fructose and sucrose and glucose. A sugar is a sugar as far as our body is concerned. But paradoxically, we need to be eating fruits and even the vegetables with sugar in them to get those micronutrients, to get the vitamin C and the iron and all those sorts of things. We should be eating to get those things, and we just need to be aware of not overeating on fruit. Let's take fruit for an example. We need to make sure that we don't overeat on fruit, because no matter where the sugar comes from, it works the same way in our bodies. So we need to eat fruit to be mindful of the micronutrients, but we need to be aware that it is still putting sugar into our bodies. The body struggles to process sugar, and it is more likely to store sugar as excess calories rather than burn it off. All right, so I'm going to go into carbohydrates more in the coming weeks, because carbs is a big one and it really, really deserves its own live video. But this is some food for thought, right? So let's have a quick chat about the best carbs to eat. Vegetables, okay? Carbs that are vegetables are the best ones to eat. Preferably the green cruciferous ones. We've been over this a few times. Things like broccoli, collie, spinach, kale, bok choy, zucchini, cucumber, green beans. Those sorts of things have a very tiny, if at all, sugar content, and remember, they don't actually count towards your calories, because they rarely ever make it into your bloodstream. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, go ahead and watch our menopause series. There's 2 videos. If you are eating all the vegetables, but if you are eating all vegetables with the exception of the potatoes, so even if you do pick up peas and capsicum and carrot, celery is another green one too, guys. I always forget celery. But even if you are just eating vegetables and they're not all green cruciferous ones, you are still doing your body a wonderful thing. Carbohydrates are good, and while the sugars there exist, they exist in a really small amount. All right, and the balance, the trade-off for those micronutrients that you get in those other vegetables too is worth it. So all vegetables, go for it, with the exception of starchy ones like potatoes and sweet potatoes. Sorry, Lisa, I do love sweet potato. After that, after vegetables, if you want to go down the list, vegetables are at the top of the carbohydrates that are good for your body, and the list of things that you should eat. We start with vegetables. After that, we go to fruit. Fruit would be the next one down. Then we're looking at things like beans, lentils, oats. Anything that is, any carbohydrate source that is as close to its natural state as possible is always going to be better for you than something that is processed. It's that simple. All right. Who hates me now? Who hates me now because I've just killed carbohydrates for you? And if I've just killed fruit for you, I'm really sorry. But remember, fruit is fine in small amounts because you need the micronutrients, but overeating on fruit may actually be undoing your weight management goals, because it is high in sugar and the body doesn't discern where the sugar comes from. Sugar is sugar. All right, let me know in the comments if you hate me. Let me know if I may be confirming something that you already knew. If you already knew this stuff, let me know below. But unfortunately, carbohydrates are our undoing. They are not necessary for our survival. And I'm really sorry, ladies, but that is one thing you're going to have to get over and not hate me for. All right. The last macronutrient for tonight. So there's 3. We've done fats, we've done carbs, and yes, I've touched on them briefly. But like I said, we're going to go into them in more detail in the next few weeks. The last one, and a lot of you identified this today, is protein. Okay, some of you identified this today as the macronutrient that is best for you, and I have to agree. I have to agree with you based on what I know about it and what I experience with it myself. So, much like fats, we cannot survive without protein. Okay, we need protein to repair cells, to repair tissues, to repair muscles, to grow muscles, for cell regeneration, for regrowth. But where do we find protein? And this is always something that confuses people and can actually be where some people go wrong in their weight management journey, because they are actually prioritizing foods as protein when they should be classed as fats. Peanut butter and nuts are actually a fat source, not a protein source, and I'll go into that in a minute. But where we find protein, lean parts of meats and animals and fish, not the fatty parts, okay? Eggs are really good. If you're vegan or vegetarian, tofu is another one. Basically anything that comes from an animal or a fish or simulates an animal, a bit like a tofu, right? Or protein powder is actually a really good one to have too. Now, like I said before, people often get confused around sources of protein like nuts, seeds, and beans, okay? These things, nuts, seeds, and beans, contain a high amount of protein, but they either have a higher carbohydrate or a higher fat content. So we don't consider them as protein sources because they're not the highest in protein. But you can, of course, count their protein content towards your daily totals, as you would with any other macronutrient. But when you are looking to, when we say prioritize protein at every meal, they're not the things we're thinking of. We're thinking of the lean meats and the eggs and egg whites and things like tofu and fish. All right. So that's what we need to do. You can still, when you are counting your macros, so let's say you want to reach 100 grams of protein a day and you're eating some beans, they can count towards your protein. Whatever's in them counts. At the end of the day, whatever's in the food counts. So let's say beans, you've got beans and you've got 40 grams of carbohydrates, you've got 20 grams of protein and you've got 10 grams of fat. Those things all count, right? But if we said to you, what is your protein source for that meal, which is a really important thing, prioritizing protein, beans wouldn't be it. We would be expecting to see some egg whites or some lean meat or some fish, things like that. All right. So this is what I love about protein. Let me give you the good info about protein. So the bonus about eating protein for your weight management. Firstly, it fills you up really quickly, much quicker than carbohydrates do. So if your meal is predominantly protein, you shouldn't need to eat as much to feel full as you would with carbohydrates. A bit similar to fats, yeah? So if your meal was predominantly good fats and lean protein, you're going to feel full really quickly and you're going to feel full for a long time. Which is, secondly, it takes me to that point, it takes longer to digest, which means less of it goes to the bloodstream. And ladies, you know this by now, tell me in the comments, excess nutrients in the bloodstream leads to what? I want to see it in the comments. You know this by now. So protein is less likely to go to the bloodstream than carbs and fats. Plus it takes longer to digest, a bit like fats do, which means you won't be hungry as quickly after. So sometimes, you can eat a whole stack of carbohydrates and an hour or 2 hours later you are starving hungry again. That doesn't generally happen when you eat a lot of protein. Yep, I can see some of the comments. Yep. So what happens to excess nutrients in the bloodstream when our body doesn't use it? It goes straight to your fat stores. That's what happens. That does not generally happen with protein. Okay, protein is less likely to go into your bloodstream and be stored as body fat. Interesting. Thirdly, your body uses some of the calories that you eat in protein to actually digest the food itself. It's using energy to digest the protein. This is called the thermic effect of food. How much of it is used as energy for digestion? Here's a little interesting fact. 30% approximately of the protein that you eat is used in that process, which means that only 70% of your protein that you've eaten is actually counted towards your calorie total. How good is that? All right, so as opposed to fats and carbs where all of it pretty much, about 90 to 95% of fats and carbs counts towards your calories, protein, it's only about 70% because 30% instantly goes to your energy, to boosting metabolism, to actually digest the protein. So your body uses protein to burn calories. Win-win. So not only are you feeling full, you are fueling your metabolism to burn the calories of what you just to burn off the food that you just ate to reduce the calories. It's an absolute win-win. And as a result, your metabolism increases when you eat protein. So at its very basic level, the more protein you eat, the higher your metabolism will be, even if it's only a little bit. Even if eating that protein, enough protein during the day, boosts your metabolism by 50 to 70 calories over a 24-hour period, guys, that's an extra yo-yo biscuit at the end of the day. Hello? Yeah? Just because you ate protein all day long, if that boosts your metabolism by 50 to 70 calories over that entire day, that's 50 to 70 calories that you don't have to walk off, or that you don't have to vacuum off or swim off, or whatever it is that you're doing. And it's only because you ate protein. So again, we'll go more into this in the coming weeks because there is so much to unpack here. But at the very basic level, protein is the macronutrient that you do want to prioritize at every single meal. Lastly, protein is the building block for muscle growth and repair. And if you are looking to get a more toned body with less body fat, then protein is what you need. Righto. I have gone through a lot tonight with those 3 macronutrients. Let me know any questions that you have. Please put them below. I'm going to answer them tonight. There is quite a bit to go over here. I've only briefly touched on these important elements because otherwise we would be here all night, okay? But as you can see, there are really important things to know if you are serious about eating well and transforming your health. And I know that most of you on here are. Random, but your eyelashes. What's wrong with my eyelashes? Now you've got me concerned, Mel. What's wrong? Oh, you got the love hearts. Okay, thanks. That's interesting. Thanks, Mel. I think that's a compliment. I'm not sure. So there is a lot to go over in these, and we're going to go over them in the next few weeks. I think each macronutrient really does deserve its own live, so stay tuned for that one. Make sure that you do ask me any questions before we make those lives so that I can answer them specifically for you. Like if you've got a question specifically about fats, let me know so that I can answer that in the live and I can get to it. All right, so, thanks, Mel. I've actually tried a new mascara this week, a little bit off topic, but I am enjoying it, yeah. So thanks, Mel. I really appreciate that. And because daylight saving's gone, I actually haven't even got my light on tonight. Maybe we should put a light on. Like, oh, look at that. Oh, my God, there I am. Daylight saving's gone, so I've lost all my natural light that I normally have in this room. And thank you, Mel. You just reminded me at the end of a live to put on my light. So thank you. Okay, so as you know, our step challenge starts tomorrow. I strongly encourage you to join because not only will you help us raise funds for a very worthy charity, you are going to do absolute wonders for your own health, your physical and your mental health. The last time we ran this step challenge, it was game-changing for the women that were in it. Some people started on 3,500 steps a day and ended up on 7,000 or 8,000 steps a day, which was huge for them. That's double their step count from 8 weeks beforehand. Others had high starting points at the start and pushed themselves to brand new limits. Everybody who participated found a way to make getting their steps a priority in their day They put themselves first, and honestly, magical things really do happen when you put yourself first, ladies. So what I want to say about the step challenge is that you can make time to move your body. You can make time for yourself, and you can make time for your health. You just have to choose to do it. And we honestly believe that the step challenge is the best way to make a start on your health journey. This is because it's not competitive with anyone else. We will reward you simply for meeting your goals, okay? We're not asking you to compete with anybody else. I can see the comments below. Yeah, you guys loved it. Mel, I know you loved it. Your transformation was phenomenal and you pushed. Carla's certainly pushing the limits this round. I haven't set the steps this time, guys. Caitlin has done an amazing job, and we know that you guys can do it. We absolutely do. So the step challenge is about you pushing your goals, pushing yourself, not meeting and matching the goals of anybody else in this challenge. It is tailored 100% to you, so you are not competing for a step count with someone else. So if you are someone who doesn't walk a lot, you are not going to be competing with someone who's walking 10,000 steps a day or someone else who runs marathons. Yes, there are people in this group who run marathons, okay? We're not asking you to do the same number of steps that they are. What we are encouraging you to do is do more steps than you are currently doing now. And each week you have a gradual increase in that. It is all about your starting point and your goals and has nothing to do with anybody else. And we think that's the way it should be. But, and I was talking to someone today about the last step challenge and what it was that really pushed her to meet her goals. It was all of that, but more importantly, it was the community of women supporting each other. And it is phenomenal. I am so proud to be a part of the group. So after this live, head on over to our website and join up after the live. Follow the steps in your sign up email and we will get you started. I promise you, ladies, I absolutely promise you. It is going to be the best thing that you will do for yourself and your health this year. And who knows, you may even win along the way. All right. So as promised, stay tuned in a minute. We're going to show you how you can win something else. We're doing a little bit extra. But as promised, we did ask you beauties. I can see Katie's on here. I wonder if she's going to let me know in a minute. Not yet. We asked you beauties to help Caitlin and I set our own goals for this challenge. Now, we are both teachers and we both truly believe in leading by example. So we have put ourselves on the line. We asked you to tell us how many steps you think we should do. Now, we lead very different lives, Katie and I. So Katie has a 7-month-old baby. And so she's doing that. And she's also works for me at her computer for a couple of hours. And I work at my desk most of the day and I walk with people and I walk a minimum of around about 6Ks a day anyway. So our own goals will be very different from each other. Caitlin and I will not have the same number of goals, I don't think, right? So what we have done, at least I hope this is what Katie has done for me, is that we have taken what you guys said and we have taken a general average of what we've done this week, which sucks to be me because I did a 9K walk today. So sucks to be me right now. I wonder what she's come up with. And we've come up with a weekly starting total for each of us, okay? So Caitlin, I've set yours, my love, and you can write in the comments what mine's going to be. But Caitlin, your goal is going to be 56,000 steps in the first week, my love. That's an average of 8,000 steps a day. I really hope baby Ivy likes walking, mate, because that is a ton of steps for you to walk. 56,000 steps, guys. What do you reckon? Do you think Katie can do it? 56,000 steps this week. Daily average of 8,000. I think baby Ivy's going to love it. Ladies, let me know what you think. Katie, when you're ready, you can tell me what my goal is. I think we're a bit slow on the comments tonight. But that's okay, ladies. Tell us what you think about Caitlin's. Is it high enough or should I make it go higher? I think there's a few of you in this group that have higher. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Caitlin. Oh, my God. Okay, so Caitlin has set for me 95,000 steps. Yeah. Thanks, Caitlin. I can see the evil laugh that you have done with that. Well, so what is that an average of a day? 95,000, 13,500 steps a day I need to do starting tomorrow. All right, you've got this. All right, we can do this. Ladies, what do you think? Do you think she's been too kind, or do you think she's being really mean? I need you to tell me. All right, Katie, you've got 56, I've got 95. Now, the rest of you, if you are super competitive, I know you are. I know there are some of you on here who are super competitive and you like to win. We're going to kick off round 1, so week 1, with another prize for you guys. Too kind, Carla says. I'm sure it'll go up every week, Carla. All right. Here we go. If you want to win in the first week of the step challenge, what you need to do is comment below, I've got this, right? Comment, I've got this in the comments below before midnight tonight. That's it. You also need to be in the step challenge and you need to meet your step goal for the first week. We want to see if everyone can meet their step goal in the first week, all right? We don't want anybody missing their goal straight off the bat, because we want you to set yourselves up for success. So we are going to give away an Uber Eats voucher this time next week for those women who, two things you got to do. Comment below before tonight. You got to say, I've got this. And I can see there are like so many of you started that already. That's the first thing you need to do. All you need to do is write, I've got this. So you'll be in the draw already. The second thing is, you need to meet your step goal next week. That's it. So if you meet your step goal next week and you've commented below, I've got this, then you are in the draw to win an Uber Eats voucher. All right, and we'll draw that next week. So if you've submitted by Sunday night next week, that's fine. Actually, we might draw it on the Monday night because submissions for the step challenge close on the Monday morning. So if you're in the step challenge, if you're not in the step challenge, what I encourage you to do right now if you want to win is comment below, I've got this, and then go and sign up for the step challenge. I'll put the link up in the group afterwards. That's what you need to do. So if you are not in the step challenge yet, all you need to do is comment, I've got this before midnight tonight. So comment that, then go join up for the step challenge and you'll absolutely be in the running for that voucher. All right, who's in, ladies? Let's get this show on the road. Let's get this step challenge started. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to do this one with you. I will be fully accountable in this one with you so you know that I'm doing it as well. All right, are there any questions about tonight's live? Because I think I have taken up enough of your time. But if you got any questions, Lisa says, Caitlin, you're a bit mean, but you can do it. Absolutely, I can do that. I can smash 95, I think. 13.5. I think I might have to go out and play netball with the kids or something. All right, guys. Let me know if you got any questions. I'll hang tight for 30 seconds. Remember that when you are planning your meals this week, protein is the priority at every single meal, and that way you'll be feeling full, you'll be fueling your muscles, and less of it will go to your fat stores. Isn't that wonderful? These little things that we learn. Alrighty, so remember to comment, I've got this below. Go and join up in the step challenge. If you haven't got your steps yet, please message me. I'm confident that everybody who has actually submitted their steps in the app, we have written and sent back your program via email. If that is not the case, either you haven't put your initial steps in the app or the email's gone missing, please let me know as soon as you can and I will get that sorted for you in the morning. As always, have a wonderful, wonderful week. This is the last 5-day week that we have for a while now because we've got Easter and then we've got Anzac Day coming up. And so enjoy that. Enjoy having a few weeks of a few shortened weeks. Thank you for tuning in, ladies. And I cannot wait to see all of you on the step challenge. It is not too late to join. Please go do so. We are raising money for Farah. But more importantly, you're learning to put yourself first. So let's get on the step challenge. Have a lovely week, everybody, and I'll see you next week. Bye.